Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another Sporting160EN podcast. Podcast number 101. We got another special one for you today. As always, I'm your guy, Danny, joined by my co-hosts, as always, starting off with my main man, Christian. Christian, what's good, bro?
I am I'm doing all right. Kind of a snoozer of a draw this weekend, but I don't think too many people are going to be complaining about that result, including myself. So yeah, another notch on the belt. Let's keep it rolling. 9 more finals.
Agreed. 9 more finals. Also joined by my man, Sam. Sam, what's good, bro?
It seems like I didn't get the dress code, Danny. We came prepared, both of us.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's great to be episode 101. Like Christian said, a bit of a boring game, but we got a great episode for you today.
And we are joined by a very special guest, our head coach of the Den of Lions, a delegation of Sporting Club Portugal, the 2019 Super Y National Champions, the highest you can go for in terms of club football in the States, in terms of youth club football, I should say. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we're joined by head coach Andre Marques. Andre, how are you today, bro?
What's going on, guys? Big fan of what you guys do. A pleasure to be on, and let's get the show on the road.
Couldn't agree more. Let's start off with the Twitter questions. Let me throw them on cam real quick. Starting off with the first question from Chip at Lauren Yano. She asks, "A draw for me is fine. We're guaranteed to be the top at the start of April too. Still 10 points clear with 13 to play, so we're in control of our own destiny. Just continue taking it game by game, and I'm sure we'll lead. The lead will extend. Sporting top of the league. Couldn't agree more, Lauren." Next question comes in from Joel Da Silva at Joleon_073. He asks, "Don't get me wrong, and I definitely don't want to be the party pooper here. And above anything else, I'm not taking away credit from this team and coach. But am I the only one finding it odd that Sporting's success comes at a time where we start doing business with Jorge Mendes again?" I don't know who wants to take that. Dre, do you want to take that first? What are your thoughts on that? Or Christian, how about you? What are your thoughts on that, dude?
Well, I mean, I've said this before. Like, I don't know if I've ever said on the pod, and I've said it in private for sure to these guys. I mean, sometimes Jorge Mendes hits, and sometimes he doesn't hit. Right? He's got a very, very mixed track record. I mean, Valencia, like, they had some great seasons in the Champions League. It was all Mendes, and then they had they were in the shitter for the past couple of seasons, and that was also him. Benfica, same thing. Yeah, so I guess kind of it ebbs and flows, and yeah, I mean, he has done some decent work to put the guys on the team that he has this year for us. So thank you, Jorge.
Next question from Abdallah. "If we win the league, which photo should be framed in our museum?" Andrea, I'm going to give this one to you. Which photo should go to our museum? Is it Sergio Oliveira with the Malone? Or is it our boys?
No, definitely our boys. I don't want any Porto stuff in our museum. But it's nice to see the Malone, though.
Couldn't agree more. Hold on. There we go. Maybe this one? This one might be a good one too. I don't know. Lauren's really going off with that on Twitter. Joel also asks, "Looking at our youth teams and B team, who do you see making it to the first team next?" Andrea, I don't know how familiar you are with our B team and our youth teams, but seeing as you are a youth coach in a way, what are your thoughts? Do you know of or do you think of any upcoming stars coming through the academy this year or next year?
I do. I actually follow a couple of games of the U23 and the B team. I really like this center back, Rodrigo Rego. I don't know if you guys ever seen him play. He's a really solid center back. He just needs to grow up a little bit more. And I also, of course, Joelson Fernandes is knocking at the door to get an opportunity at least next year.
I think it was his birthday yesterday or today. Shout out.
Yeah, it was. Shout out to Joelson.
Yeah, it was.
And up and coming, I think those two are going to be big in the future, big time.
Agreed. Sam, I don't know. I'll pass it off to you. I haven't talked to you in a minute, bro. Any youth players you think of?
I think Andre hit the nail on the head there, but I also want to throw in. I believe his name is. I don't want to pronounce it wrong, but is Heverton, the left wing back. I think he signed a contract with us, an extension in the summer. He looks like the real deal. But if you count Eduardo Crescen's been playing for the B team recently, could include him. But I think in general we've just got a really bright future, and it's something to look forward to. And like Amorim's been doing with like the Braganza and Inacios, the future's bright.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, bro. Next question comes in from Richard Neves at Richard_N7. He asks, after seeing all the post-game interviews from the Porto players and the coaching staff, it's clear their mouths are in competition with their asses for how much crap they can produce. That's a good one. Upset about the draw. Don't miss an open net and blame everybody but yourself for the result. Nothing more to mention there. Couldn't agree more, Richard. I have questions from my personal Twitter. So I'll read them off. First one's coming in from our guy Ryan at Rye Work Play, Rye SCP, that is. He asks, is it time Ruben Amorim thinks about Nuno Santos' starting role? Think we'd be much better off in the final third with Jovan. He was turning into a real star at the end of last season with Amorim too. Andrea, I'm gonna ask you this one as well. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think Nuno Santos has done enough to deserve that starting role? Would you like to see Jovan creep in? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a good question, but I think Ruben Amorim is doing a good job with Nuno Santos. He's not only the guy with the most assists, I think, this season so far in Sporting, and he's the second top scorer, right after Pedro Gonçalves. So I think he should still go with Nuno Santos. To me, I think he's a great player. He's a little different than Pedro Gonçalves. He's more of a winger, while Pedro Gonçalves, he likes to deflect a lot to the middle. But I would still go with Nuno Santos. I think he's a key player in our system.
I agree. Last question. I'm going to ask all of you guys. But Andrea, I'm going to start with you first. Which team was better which team was better? The team with Jorge Jesus, William, Brian Ruiz, the 2015-2016 team, or this Ruben Amorim team?
That's a really tough one. I mean,
yeah.
Jorge Jesus, I think the team with Jorge Jesus, they love to attack. They like the attacking style football. And I think with Amorim, I think it privileges defending well and then think about winning the game. I mean, it's a perfect example against Porto, but both of the teams, they play beautiful football. I love both of them. I can't really say, but if I would choose one, I would say Ruben Amorim one.
Fair enough. How about you, Sam?
It's difficult because the 15-16 team played against like a really good Benfica team, a really great Porto team. Those two teams that by themselves were just incredible when you look at the players like Jonas, Raul Jimenez, who's now before the injury was tearing up at Wolves. But on paper, I think I've got to go with the Jorge Jesus team. I think we were unlucky with what happened, but in terms of like national team experience and like actually experience, like Brian Ruiz playing in the Premier League, you had I believe it was Coates was there maybe in January. I want to say, did he join that season? Was it the season after? I think it was this season. But
I think it was
in terms of like international experience, Adrian, João Mario in his prime, and then as well Slimani in his prime. I think I've got to go with 15-16.
Yeah. How about you, Christian?
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking, unfortunately, I think I have to go with 15-16 as well. And my reasoning is I think that those players were more so in their primes. Like that was like peak Slimani, peak Adrian, peak Mario, peak William, peak João Pereira, fucking tearing it up, peak like Teo, like
Teo.
Like the team that we have this year is going to be one of those things where we look back on it like in 5 years, because like these guys are all great, but they're not hit their full potential yet. Like I know Nuno Mendes is going to fucking tear it up at like fucking Liverpool in 2 years or Man U or some shit. And it's going to be one of those things where you look back on it and you're like, I can't believe Pot and Nuno Mendes and Thiago Tomas and all these guys were on the team at the same time, you know, where they kind of like, you look back and they're like, can't believe they had Ederson and Oblak at the same time. You know, it's like you look back on it and as you see, but like, obviously they're a great team right now. They're in first place. But yeah, also I think that the league 15-16, the rivals also were stronger. And that team did battles with teams in the Champions League. Unfortunately, this team doesn't have the option to prove that yet. They'll get that chance next year, hopefully, to battle with teams in the Champions League. But yeah, based on that, I'm going to have to go 15-16.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree, though. I just want to say that team wasn't as clutch as this one's being so far. Even in terms of drawing against Porto, I think that team would have lost against Porto, for example, you know?
This team has
overcome 1-0 after dominating them.
They've overcome the hurdles of the team, like the trip up at Union de Madeira, you know, like those games, they've been there. They could have happened, but they didn't this season.
I think Ruben Amorim is doing way more than what was expected. That's why I'm going with this team. He's doing way more than I think any of us four were expecting.
Oh yeah.
Even the guy who hired him, he shocked him with how great he's fucking doing.
Yeah, I don't have the millions in front of me that they spent on the 15 team, but I think it was like at least 50 million that it cost to put that team together.
At least, yeah.
Definitely.
And how much did this team cost to put together? Not even 20 mil. I mean, yeah, 5 million.
Less.
20,
Very less. You know,
20. I would say 20.
Yeah. The only problem is that we didn't go to Europa League, but you know, can't have everything. I'll sign right now. We don't go to Europa, but as long as we win the league, I'm good.
Agreed. Like João Castro said last week, and it's 100% right. If at the beginning of the season we said, okay, you'd lose to Lask for Europa League, but you'd be tied on points with first place, we'd sign right away. Let alone 10 points clear. That's ridiculously good.
I totally agree.
Ridiculously good. All right, let's move on from that, and let's get more on to you, Andre, and exactly why you're here, and the Den of Lions, and the incredible run that they pulled off in 2019 in Tampa to win the Super Y National Champions. Take us through it. How was that journey? Of course, representing Newark, New Jersey. Am I correct? Newark. Yeah, just take us through that journey. And how was it?
It was actually a joint venture with Elizabeth Youth Soccer, EYS, and Den of Lions, and we went through the regionals process, which Christian is pretty familiar with. We won regionals. This was in 2019. We were supposed to defend our title last year, but due to COVID, it was canceled. So we went through the process of regionals. We won the regionals. We went down to Tampa. We won regionals in July, and then we went down to Tampa in December, which was great, by the way. You got away from the cold.
Tampa, Florida, for the non-Americans.
Yeah, Tampa, Florida. It's a great place to be. So we went down there, and as soon as we got there, we were the underdogs. Nobody knew us. The club, unfortunately, never won a title like this, and it was really important, especially for the Sportingistas and the line members that we have all around, you know, the tri-state area. And we pulled off a great upset to the point where we were, you know, we won 3 group stage games, all of them by 1 goal. It was like 1-0, and then it was 2-1, and then we actually tied the third one. And then we went to the semifinals. We played against the favorites, the heavy favorites, and we won 5-0, which was incredible. And then we went to the final, and we won 2-1, and it was awesome. But you could see, like, before the actual tournament, like in the plane trip and everything, that the players, like, they were focused. All they thought about was getting there, you know, do the job. We trained well. Everybody was healthy, and it was a great experience for the boys, and especially for me and the other staff members. It was incredible. So,
yeah. So take us through, even with so you mentioned earlier you were with Newark and Elizabeth, correct? Take us through how does that scene look? I know you guys have rivals, Ironbound, very notorious for their picking of are very notorious with their links with the New York Red Bulls. go through that and that whole experience, that whole rivalry as well.
Right. So Super Y works. This league, this specific league, works by region. So Iron Bun already had taken the region of Newark, and we worked with Elizabeth Youth Soccer. Like I don't know what the process was, but they actually got into an agreement, and we could use Elizabeth Youth Soccer name, but playing with the Den Alliance team. And so that's how we went.
Because there's only allowed to be one team per like county
per county, exactly.
Yeah.
So Newark took the county that we are right now. It's Essex County, and we went as the Union County team, and we were able to win it all with Elizabeth Youth Soccer and Den Alliance. So that's the proof that clubs around here can work together, even though that there's a lot of heat, but we were able to overcome that, and we did something good.
Which is part of the reason why you had to wear red and black, correct?
Yes. That's the Elizabeth Youth Soccer uniform is red, and then I think it's red and white. Yeah, red and white, and then we had to use it. We still had the Den Alliance symbol on the sleeve, so it was sweet.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up a picture now, but Christian, I'll pass it off to you.
Yeah, so I think that like it's important for our listeners who aren't familiar so much with like Newark or even American soccer in general. So Den of Lions is affiliated with Lar dos Leões, or it's also called, that's literally Den of Lions in Portuguese. If you didn't pick that up, but now you know. So it's a delegation in Newark, or so it's like, I don't want to get too into the weeds because I want to follow up on this. But so basically there's 3 different categories of affiliations with Sporting. Nucleus, which are the most common. There's over 250. Those are the most common ones that you see when people like gather for these like watch parties or to like whatever, those houses. Those are usually Nucleus. But there's 2 other kinds, Filiais and Delegações, which were basically started before Nucleus started. Nucleus started in the 80s. Filiais and Delegações came before them. So Lar dos Leões in Newark was actually founded in like the 70s. So they actually are like over almost 50 years old or over 50 years old. So pretty old, all like been there for a while. It's in Newark. They have a physical building, and you know they have a youth soccer club affiliated with the club with the social club, you could call it. And you know they wear Sporting uniforms. This is their logo. You can clearly see that it's been remixed a little bit. Back in my day, they just straight up used to have the Sporting logo, but I like the remixed version to add their own personal touch to it. Looks good. So yeah, so we I live in New Jersey as well, and we have a local club in our area that's out there rocking Sporting uniforms affiliated with the Sporting club in Newark. So I think that is grounds enough for not only me but all of you guys to support them and be fans of the work that they do. And they are kind of underdogs, not only Andre's team but as a club. Ironbound, New York Red Bulls, like trying to take top talent from the exact same area, so it's always a struggle for Den Lions. So the fact that Andre's team was able to go as far as they did is honestly incredible. And I'm happy that he's able to join us and talk about his experience.
I messed up. That logo wasn't actually of Den of Lion Gunners. That was something different. But I'll search up that logo real quick. Andre, talk us through that. So it's a delegation of the best you can, of course, a delegation of Sporting. Honestly, what the hell does that mean? Especially here in North America, I have a soccer academy that's not too far from me here in Toronto. That is an actual sort of an academy or a byproduct of Sporting's academy. Mind you, very little attention comes from it. Of course, we are in Canada, so maybe there's not enough talent going through there. There's only one talent that I know of, which is he's playing currently in the B team or in the U23 team, is Lucas Dias. But sidetracked, but what does that mean in terms of Den of Lions as a delegation of Sporting? What does that mean?
Well, I kind of see it as like an affiliated club with Sporting. We use their logos. We have meetings with them, like the Paul, which is a club president, and he's actually watching right now. What's up, Paul? And yeah, so we're kind of like an affiliated team and club. We're basically a social club, like any other club, like Casa de Rebatejo and all these clubs around here in Newark, which Christian is probably familiar with. There's a lot of clubs all over Newark with a lot of Portuguese people.
Yeah, there's like the Azorian club, there's the Benfica club, there's just the regular Portuguese club, and so this is just the sporting club.
Yes, and that's how it started as a social club, and then they started creating teams, participating in tournaments and leagues, and then that's how it started. I mean, we're basically using Sporting. We're Sporting symbol, the Macron shirts. We use them as well. We use everything Sporting related, and we try to keep in contact with Sporting as well. I mean, we just had the dinner a couple of years ago. I think Christian was present with President Varandas and Ugviana and all those guys. They came up here with Den Alliance.
Yep. Me and Danny saw them in New York City the next night. They were in Newark the night before, and then the next night we saw them in New York City.
And then Alliance had a great part in bringing those guys up here and accommodate them. So it was pretty cool.
Were they in your physical building, or did you guys do it somewhere else?
I think then Alliance organized like a massive dinner at a Portuguese restaurant over here.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And that's where we all met the Ugviana. We met Frederic Varandas, and it was pretty cool on their part to do that. And then Alliance was heavily involved in that. So it was good to see.
That's awesome. I know me and Danny can attest. That was a great couple of days. If I could have extended the trip even one more day, I would have loved to come even a day earlier, so I could have gone to the dinner that you're talking about. But unfortunately, at the time, like, my work was more stingy about taking time off, so I wasn't unable to. But I was able to enjoy it for like 2 days, so it was still great. He said that he promised us that they'd be back soon, so we got to keep on them to make sure that happens. For maybe a little longer. They do a little U.S. tour, 3 games or something. We've follow them for a couple days. That'd be cool.
Facts. Sam, I don't know if you have any questions for Dre.
Yeah. In terms of a youth coach, how difficult do you find it, or is it difficult to sort of, put yourself in the players' shoes and motivate them? What, like, in terms of like if they have a tough loss, is it difficult to motivate players, especially at a young age?
That's a good question. Yeah, it is. It is difficult to motivate them, but we try our best. I mean, we're dealing with, in my group age is U18s, so and they play high school soccer. I mean, we call it. I hate that word. It's high school football.
Yeah.
Yeah, we play high school football. They play high school football, and then on the off season of high school, they play club team, either club or academy. But we're a club, and and they're big boys. They're U18s. They're national champions, current national champions. They know how hard, before we won Super Y Nationals, we lost the league to the number one team in the country, which is STA. We lost them the league to them in the last game of the season. We lost the State Cup to them in the last game of the season. So these boys know how devastating it is to not put everything on the line, to not give it your all. So it's hard. But to answering your question, it's hard, but it's it's motivating at the same time when they lose, because they know it might happen at any time.
Yeah. And then in terms of, say, like when I watch Sporting and like say I see something in the game that, say, like Brian Ruiz 2016, for example, they could have scored, and you think about it all the time. As a coach, like when you see something happen in the game, do you find it difficult to disconnect sort of in your personal life? Do you think, oh, what could have happened, or should I have done something differently, or is it just a straight disconnect? You sort of like don't really feel it once the game's done.
That's another good question. I mean, when the game starts, all we try to do is think about the game. Whatever happened in the game before, or whatever is happening outside. That's the hard part about being, coaching U18s right now, is making them being focused on the game. It's hard, but we try as much as you can. Like when the game is on, that's all you think about. Forget about your girlfriend watching on the sidelines. Forget about the parents screaming and yelling. You try to do whatever it takes and play the best of your ability to win the game, which is what we're looking for.
Yeah, and lastly, you mentioned about meeting Varandas and Hugo Viana. Was that like a starstruck moment for you? Were you nervous? Like how was it actually meeting those and getting to have conversations with them?
No, it was we didn't talk that much because to be honest with you, they were awake for like 30 hours and they were pretty tired when the dinner happened, but it was good to have a little bit of a conversation with them, just to have a feel, because Varandas was elected at that time. He was 3-4 months in the job, and it was cool. It was actually really cool to talk to them, especially Hugo Viana. Hugo Viana was a guy that I really enjoyed talking to, and I also met Manuel Fernandes. And Manuel Fernandes, I really enjoy. Sporting legend.
He was there the next night, but Hugo Viana wasn't, unfortunately. Only Manuel Fernandes was. But yeah, he was a character. I guess I'll give him that.
To say the least.
Well, Manuel Fernandes got some stories, man, but he's a legend. My dad was super happy to meet him because he was like his idol. My dad was at the stadium with the Seta in the late 80s. My dad was at the stadium right on the first couple of rows in the old stadium, and my dad was psyched to meet him. He was talking for like half an hour with him, so it was really cool.
Cool. Danny, I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah, I met him too. Well, with Christian, as we were saying, I actually met him too. Showed a picture to my dad because I don't know the guy. I didn't grow up watching him, but my dad's seen it. He's going crazy as well. A bit back to Den of Lions. Last few questions here. Nothing too crazy. Or actually, one question more towards you. How did you get into coaching? And how do you, not to make this sound like a job interview, but where do you see yourself in the next couple of years? Do you see yourself thinking more within youth soccer, or can you go coach Sporting after Ruben Amorim goes to Barcelona later? I don't know.
No, definitely not. My goal right now is to help these boys get into a good college through soccer, through football. I'm sorry.
Hey, call it soccer, bro. That guy, in this part of the world, I call it soccer.
That's the goal right now, is to help out these boys, getting to good colleges. What was the first part of the question? How did
you get into coaching? Yeah,
it was actually a friend of mine who coaches and invited me. Because the other coach that he had at the time, he left due to personal problems, and I watched a couple of games, and I decided to go help him out, and I liked it. I really liked it, and it was a good team. The team was already made by the previous coach, and then I just had to step in and just basically continue the work that was being done with the boys, which was excellent, and. That's how it started. It was through a friend of mine who was already the coach of the team, and we just continued the work that was being done before.
For sure. My last question, and I mean, Christian, you can speak onto this as well, as seeing as you are part of the community. What does Den of Lions mean to the community, to Newark, to Elizabeth, and what has Den of Lions really brought onto the community as well?
As a social club or as the soccer team?
Both.
I think it's a really big part of the Portuguese community. I mean, I think all the clubs are really, to be honest with you. I feel like we're one of the biggest Portuguese communities around the world for a reason, and it's because of all the hard work that these people do, and most of them they do this for free. The Portugal Day Parade, which probably Christian is familiar with. It's a really big part of the community. Not only clubs, but restaurants, supermarkets. Everything is Portuguese around here. So and these guys really work hard, and a big shout out to all the Portuguese clubs, not only the Lions but all of them, for doing their part and keeping everybody together.
Fair. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I just wanted for the listeners just a little bit of context, like about just in general how youth soccer in this country works. Like honestly, like there's a big paywall in front of elite soccer in this country in a way that in Europe it doesn't exist. If you're talented and you're good enough, like trust me, like eventually it's gonna work out. Someone's gonna bring you in, someone's gonna pay for your bus ticket, your hotel room, whatever the fuck it is, because in the end they know that is it's a worthwhile investment to pay $200 right now because you're gonna be worth potentially 20 million in 3 years, so that's a good ROI there. So in this country though, it's just a business, man. It's just how it works. It's more so a business than it is any sort of serious way of developing talent, which honestly, like you're seeing top Americans now show up in Europe now. The MLS has improved over the last several years. It's because they've started to incorporate youth players more. There's no mistake that those two things are directly correlated. They still do the big name, the one guy, the Beckham, the Giovinco, the whatever, but it's less about that now, and they're building real squads now, so that's good to see. But yeah, going back to my original point, youth soccer, there's just a major paywall in front of it. So to play on these top teams, it's super expensive. These tournaments, hotels, driving, gas, this shit adds up. So Newark obviously is a working class city. There's the real life circumstances that people who live in Newark, grow up in Newark, face versus kids who live in, a ritzy suburb and they play Den of Lions. It's like all these kids are just, rich kids from the suburbs or whatever. So Andre's team has to work so much harder to just level that playing field because just youth soccer is a business. So I think that even, lends even greater, achievement to Andre's success and his team's success. I don't know if you want to speak about that more, Andre, because you obviously are with these kids every day.
No, what I can add is that we actually do a lot with these kids too, and we fight against all odds around here. Academy teams, all those teams that have a lot of money, and us as a club team, I think we do pretty well, and we're growing, and we're striving for the next level, and we're gonna get there with the help of these boys.
Agreed. One question from somebody in the audience. Of course, no need to be too nitty gritty, but how are the parents for the kids you coach? How difficult is it when their kid doesn't play? Do they say anything? Like nowadays, most parents expect their kid to be the next Ronaldo. It's actually a really good point as well. What do you make of that? Or has there been a lot of turmoil in that case?
No, not really. I mean, the parents already know. Like because all the kids have quality. At 18 years old, you're either good or you're not good. You're not going to be testing, a player that really doesn't know what he's doing into one of these teams. No, the parents, it's not everything is easy, but we deal well with that. We deal well with that situation.
I'm not gonna lie, Andre. I feel like the kids of the parents who pay like fucking $20K for their kid to play on a team are just way worse to deal with. I can't even imagine dealing with those.
There's actually
holy shit, man.
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt because that's rude.
No, go.
There's actually been a couple of situations that parents decided, oh, we're gonna leave the club scene because my kid is a good player, he plays good here, and then they go to an academy team. And Christian is familiar with the academy teams because I think he played in one or still plays in one or something like that, right, Christian?
I mean, I'm playing rec ball now. Back in the day.
So there's more than one time that a kid takes a shot at an academy team, an expensive academy team, and they get there and it's not the same. I'm not with my boys. I have to start over, and I cannot relate to anyone here. And then they'll end up coming back. So it's an interesting dynamic that happens with sometimes really good players, they don't fit well with academy teams, not only because of money, but because of the style of play that they do, or because they've been used to playing with their friends for a long time. So it changes a little bit.
Facts. The last question for me really is, and with this whole COVID-19 thing, of course, you guys won the championship before COVID really hit. How has COVID affected everything? I believe you guys were supposed to go to Tampa this year. How's that looking?
Yeah, it affected really, really bad. We were ranked on the system here, club wise. We were ranked like around 40 in the United States, and with COVID, everything went to hell. We stopped going to tournaments while other teams kept playing.
Again, the money thing. You pay for these fucking exclusive tournaments or whatever.
Exactly.
So they can keep getting points in their ranking system.
Exactly.
Keep their rank up.
It's impossible. So, but still, I strongly believe that we're one of the top teams in New Jersey still with the kids that we have. So, good things are coming. That's all I can say.
And you guys are supposed to start for real again, right? Your next tournament.
Yeah, coming up in the next few weeks. We're actually starting practice tonight.
Nice.
So good things are definitely coming in the upcoming weeks.
Hell yeah! Best of luck, man.
For real. Best of luck.
We'll tweet an update to our followers of how it goes. Because I'm not gonna lie, Andre, I think you got some new fans tonight for Dental Lions.
I hope so. You hear that, Paul? Paul is watching. I'm just messing with him.
Do you mind if I name drop? You don't have to say how it happened. I just want to mention how a certain athlete did send your players a motivational video. Do you mind if I drop that name? You can say no.
I would not do it. No, I'm sorry.
Okay, never mind then. Yes. Anyways, guys, let's move on to unless there's any more pending questions, Christian or Sam.
No, this is great. I just wanted to tell everyone I hope to follow up more with Dental Lions in the future. Filiais, delegações, núcleos, get you guys more info about it. It's something I'm curious about. You have info, shoot it my way. I'm receptive. DM's open. You already know.
Christian is doing a fantastic job since we got in touch. And he's the man right now. He's doing everything he can to help us out. He already spoke with our president as well, Paul. They had a nice conversation, and it's fantastic. The doors are open to any of you guys. If even if Sam travels to the US one day, nós fazemos questão de venhas visitar a Casa dos Leões de Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, sounds good to me. And if you're ever in the UK, feel free. I'll buy you many beers.
Nice. That's what I like to hear. I'll take you up on that.
Just one last thing from João Serra here. Does Casa de Benfica have a rivalry with Den of Lions Academy? Is there a Casa de Benfica in Newark? I mean, I guess so, right? It's a big Portuguese community.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of rivalry there?
There is a Casa de Benfica in Newark, but
they don't have a sports team, do they?
They used to have a couple of years ago, but then they finished that. But last I heard, they're starting again soon. But no. To answer João Serra's question, no, we don't have a rivalry with Casa de Benfica because they don't have any teams as of right now.
I don't know where João is from, but another thing, even especially here in North America, it's more so of us working together than it is us being a rival, just because there's so few and far between of us.
The rivalry is mostly online, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, when it comes, even here in Toronto, the Casa do Sporting, they don't have bad relations with the Casa do Benfica or with the Casa do Porto. It's just three houses in a big Portuguese community here. That's so. I
actually know of people that are not even Sporting fans, and they go to the Lions. Yeah, and just to hang out with friends that go there, or just to go there and have a beer. So it's an interesting thing to see. But and about rivalry, no, Casa de Benfica is not our rival. Our rival is like Christian said, the Arambon teams.
Facts. Facts. All right. Thanks for that, Andrea. We do appreciate that. And like we said, best of luck for this season. And hopefully we can, I'm already speaking as if I'm one of you guys, but because I am one of you guys, we can repeat. Let's quickly go on to the 0-0 Porto game. I'll read out the starting 11. Let me just quickly throw this up here. Sporting starting 11 was as followed. We had Antonio Adan in net with Fadal, Coates, and Inácio in the back line, Nuno Mendes and Poru on the wing backs, Palhinha and João Mário in the midfield with Nuno Santos, Tiago Tomás, and Pot, with substitutions of Tabata, Mateus Nunes, Jovan Cabral, and Mateus Reis. Porto, their starting 11 was Merchenzi in net with that's Zaidu, right?
Yeah.
As left back.
Yeah.
Zaidu, Pep, Mbemba, and Manafá. They had Otávio, Uribe, Sergio Oliveira, Jesus Corona, who had a hell of a game, and Taremi and Marega up top. With substitutions of Vinilson, the Conceição kid, Chico Conceição, and Luis Diaz. Andrea, I'm gonna start it off with you. What were your thoughts on this 0-0?
It was a really tough game. I think Sporting's defensive three, they played a fantastic game. It was a tough game. We can't forget that we're playing at the Dragão and they have everything on the line. I keep hearing a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's a boring game." Sporting did what they needed to do to hold on the fort. You know what I mean? The three in the back, they had Taremi and Marega on lock. I mean, Taremi had clear situation in front of the goal. He missed it. Too bad. We'll take it. We'll take the tie. But it was a tough game. It was a tough game. And the subs that Ruben Amorim did, I really enjoyed when Mateus Nunes went in and Jovan Cabral. Ruben Amorim touched a couple of players in midfield and he made the difference. Because João Mário, it was okay, but he was getting tired in the second half. So I actually enjoyed the subs that he did. And it was a good game. At the end, I was celebrating, a tie at the Dragão, 10 points still, so I'll take it.
Agreed. Sam, what about you? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I will say I watched this with my girlfriend at her house, and she does watch football, but as I was on the edge of my seat as a Sporting fan watching everything, she was so bored. She was like, "This is such a boring game." But it's legit. I was on the edge of my seat, and I think no one here can deny Porto were the much better team in that game. I don't think there's any doubt. I feel like their team was better because we had a few bad players. I think this was possibly Nuno Mendes' worst game. Jesus Corona skinned him. It seemed like every play. Inácio looked really nervous. I thought as well. Pedro Porro had a really off game. Same with Pot. But the one thing I will say about this team, that defensive line, the back three in terms of playing Porto offside was phenomenal. So many times that it looked like they were through, but no, it was actually the defensive three holding such a good line. And I think as well, João Mário is frustrating at times. He does pass back a lot, and I do feel like in some parts of the game, he did ruin some of the moves, like the counter-attacks was going on, and he just passed it back to the defense. But I guess in a game like this, it's sort of necessary. And I don't know about you guys, when Mateus Nunes came on and he made that run, I thought that was it. I thought that was 1-0. I was so annoyed how he put that over the bar.
That was crazy, man. That run was insane, man.
It was literally like watching The Flash. He was so quick, and I can't believe he skied it. But like Andre said, when he came on, it was good. I think Amorim, I said it before, because Amorim was such a good midfielder in his day, that he sort of rubs off on like the Palhinhas and the Mateus Nunes, even João Mário. I know he's a bit older, but I feel like he has that mentality installed into them. Tiago Tomás, I give him a lot of shit, but the way he annoyed Pepe in that game made me very happy. Just a quick side note as well, I won't say too much more, but this Porto team is same with the manager. It's just, in my opinion, and I mean no disrespect, there's lovely Porto fans out there, is literally a bunch of thugs. I hate them all. Otávio, right?
Crybaby. They're crybaby thugs, dude. They're crybaby thugs.
Otávio's got the really ugly tattoos. He's got the veneers. He looks like a proper like fuck boy. I hate him so much. Pepe as well. phenomenal footballer. Do not get me wrong. He is another one. That whole team, and I spoke a bit with it, but before we went live with Danny, Sergio Oliveira's interview first was disgraceful. I
Yeah, you
know.
know that meme where it's like the happy face over top of like the guy going like he's
Oh,
so
like the
mad.
mask. Yeah,
That is
that
him.
one.
That was him in that interview, bro. Like he was a meme in that interview.
It fully was. But that Sergio Oliveira's interview, credit to Ristovski, no longer a Sporting player, but that Instagram post that Danny put up at the start was hilarious. But as well as Francisco Conceição not shaking Pedro Porro's hand is very similar to his thug of a dad as well. You know, it's obviously a mentality that he's put in them, and it's like me and Danny were also saying, Sergio Conceição is someone. If he's on your team, he's great to watch, and like he's great to have that mentality. But when you're against him, he's sort of like the Draymond Green of football. He's just like you just love to hate him, and you just think he's an absolute idiot. And I was very glad he was put in his place when at the end, I believe he said, how many times did Sporting get off the bench like to complain? And the reporter just went, 4. And he was like, oh, 4. Well, congratulations. But, you know, I hate that team. I'm glad they didn't win. But the only bad thing is that with Benfica also winning their last few games, and Porto, obviously, they didn't win, but they still played well. I think they are starting to reach that bit of form that we haven't seen yet. But I think we're good enough to see it through. But overall, you know, it was a game that needed to. A draw is great for us. A win would have been so much nicer. But Amorim got the job done, and you know, as he said, we can't think about the title. One game at a time, one game at a time, and I think that's how we're all thinking. One game at a time. Next game is a must win, just like every other game. So yeah, that's all I've got.
Sam, that's a great fucking point, because honestly, it hasn't happened yet. Like the slip up has not occurred.
Mm-hmm.
So if it did, and like the rivals got within 6, right? Let's say we lose and they got within 6. Imagine like the press. It's like the title race is back open. Like it would just be full steam ahead, but they just haven't had the opportunity to do that at all.
As well, yeah, I think it's because the team is so young that I think Amorim's saying like, let's not get too ahead of ourselves, keep our feet on the floor, because I do think if it does come, it might come. If that first loss does happen, especially with young players, I know Andre will have experience of this with his youth team. A lot of the youngsters will be will be dejected, and you know they'll feel like they've let people down. But it's just like the loss is probably going to happen sooner or later. If it doesn't, then that's fantastic.
Maybe not though.
Maybe not, but if it does happen, I think this team is mentally strong. I don't think we'll have an issue there. But like you said, you know, it is literally just one game at a time. I'm glad he hasn't mentioned the title yet, because it's one of those things that if he goes, oh yeah, we're contenders, and then we slip up, it's going to be one of them memes that lives forever. But you know, I'm a big Amorim fan, and I'm very pleased with what he's doing so far.
Yeah, agreed. Christian, anything to add on the 0-0?
I mean, yeah, I guess just basically just to, you know, add a little bit to what Andre and Sam already said. Just I thought that I guess I don't know. I go back and forth how I think about the approach to kind of shithouse. I respect it and I agree with it. And honestly, the true cowards are Porto, right? Because they have to win this game, and they're playing like it's just a normal Classico where it's like, you know, 2 points. It's like you would never have, if you just showed this game to like a random guy who doesn't follow the Portuguese league in like Turkey, that guy would never tell you that Porto was, you know, down 10 points, because they just look like a casual, you know, how Classicos always look. Honestly, all these games the big games are honestly almost always a disappointment. I'm not gonna lie. So
Yeah.
it was just standard, and for us, standard is fine because we're the ones that are chilling. But yeah, I guess it very easily could not have worked though, right? Because Taremi did have a couple clear chances. You know, we did have, you know, the Mateus Nunes. That was probably our best chance. We had a couple other half chances, but that was really about it. There was pretty much a 0 offensively and just 90 minutes of shithousing, because, I mean, we have the luxury of being able to do that, and it worked. But Yeah, I guess it just takes one crack in the armor, right? One Nuno Mendes turnover, and 3 passes later, Taremi finds himself right in front of the net, and he just fucking misses it. But that's what can happen, right? That's the game. So, yeah, I mean, I'm incredibly, grateful that it worked out. I thought that Adan had a great game. I thought that Kawats had a great game. I thought that João Mario and João Paulinho had great games. And I thought that, Porto probably deserved to win 1 or 2-0, but it's on them. They can cry all they want about like external factors, I suppose, but at the end of the day, Taremi had 4 chances to score and he didn't score any of them, and it worked out for us. So I guess the deciding factor in all these league titles is always how you do against the other teams, and Porto and Benfica drop points like every week the last 2 months. So if you're gonna do that, you better come to play in the big game, which honestly they really fully didn't.
Exactly. I'm just gonna quickly add a few things. That our defensive performance, if you will, against Porto on Saturday is just more so of what we have been this season. Portistas are making it out to be like we fully put everybody behind the net, when in fact, like, we have the best defensive record of the season for a reason. We've only suffered, I think it was said earlier, 10 goals so far in the league this season. That's important to the way we play. There's a reason why Fidal, Coates, Palhinha, even Inácio, Neto, why these players have all had like their shining spots this season is because we've been so solid at the back. They underestimate how big. They can say we've defended how big of a tackle in the first half Coates had against Marega, or the fact that every Porto player or every Porto element on the bench got up for what was one of the cleanest tackles of the game, with Nuno Mendes stripping the ball in the box away from I believe it was Marega as well. And then, yeah, like Christian mentioned, like Taremi, if you miss an open net, bro, what do you expect? Like, I don't understand all the crying. We could have easily exactly, and we could have easily.
And I think we appropriate the blame onto Brian Ruiz. You still see that picture like every other month. We're not. No one's trying to say that's anyone else's fault. Like, you gotta look in the mirror at a certain point, right?
Exactly, and that's the big thing as well. And then, yeah, we could have easily stolen the game with that Mateus Nunes run. Maybe with a bit more composure, he tries to chip the keeper,
or he tries to play. He tries to slide it on the angle to Tabata at the back post.
That too. Honestly, in my eyes, all I wanted him to do, even if it goes out for a corner, goes out for a corner. You got to get that on target at least. But yeah, like I said, we could have stolen the game. Porto, they can say all that they want about us playing defensive. Let me just quickly look at the stats again. They had 14 shots. Hold on. It was 14 shots. 3 were on target, 9 were off target, and 2 were blocked. So, like I've been saying, if they're mad at anybody, they have to be mad at themselves. Quick question for you guys. Sorry, go.
Sorry, I was just going to say, Nando, who obviously is a part of the 160EN team, on the podcast, is it Football No Filter? They have the Facebook group, and all you saw on it was Porto fans saying, "Oh, 0 shots on target. You suck. 0 shots on target." It's like, you didn't beat a team at 0 shots on target. That's not against us. That's against you. But sorry to interrupt, Danny. Carry on.
No. And that's exactly the reason. Yeah, they're calling us. We haven't won the title yet, but they're calling us one of the worst champions. Like, they beat us all season, right?
I'll take it.
What was last season? What the fuck was last season?
Yeah, exactly. I just want your opinions, because there has been, like André was showing, muito choro. André, what are your thoughts on this? He got a yellow card for it. Sporting fans, we did complain for a potential red for Zaidu on the first game against Porto at home. Do you think Nuno Mendes should have seen more than just the yellow there?
I think it's a fair yellow. It's an eye opener for Nuno Mendes. Nuno Mendes had a bad game in my opinion.
I agree.
He had a bad game, but that's a yellow. That's a yellow card. It's a bad play on him.
Agreed. Christian?
Yeah,
What are your
I'm
thoughts?
biased. I'm biased because this exact scenario happened to me in my game this past weekend. I think the difference between this and the Zaidu is this is foot on foot. Just sometimes when you're playing, you step on the guy's foot. It's a fair yellow. And you know the Zaidu incident was more on his like mid shin. So when that foot goes above the ankle or ankle and above, that's when it starts to be bad. So I think that this is the best because it hurts a lot less getting your foot stepped on than getting your shin spiked. So yeah, I think that this is the highest level before you start to go into is this a sending off situation, because this is just a hard foul. He spiked him on the foot. Yellow.
Facts. I agree actually too. Sam, any countering opinions?
It's one of them because Nuno Mendes is quite young. Like I said earlier, he did get skinned a lot by Corona, and I think it's something that is gonna no 18, especially a defender, is gonna be super solid. And I think this is a learning curve for him. But I do believe it was an accident. That might be my bias coming through. But yeah, it's a fair yellow. But if I was Nuno Mendes, I would have stamped on him a bit harder just to see him try more.
The only other thing I can really think of in terms of this game was the it was called offside on Marega, but it wasn't really offside. Teremi wasn't really offside, and then it's a shoulder to shoulder or maybe a shoulder to back between Inacio and Teremi. Andre, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that play. Do you think?
Yeah, I am. I actually think the foul is outside of the box, to be honest with you. If there's a foul, it looks to be outside of the box. But it's not offside. I mean,
I'm not gonna lie. I watched this clip probably 50 times. Probably stared at that offsides line probably for 10 minutes straight, or 10 minutes in total over the past couple days. Yeah, I've gone back and forth of whether or not he's offside or not. The angle's tough. It's really tough. It's the linesman fucked himself by putting his flag up initially, because it is damn close to tell. As far as the next part of the play, the push, there's one angle, right? So I like to take the if there's three angles and it looks like something in one of the angles, but it doesn't look like in the other two, I've usually in those situations, right? Because we've done this before. I hope that you guys can hold me to this standard. Like if it seems like something in one of the angles, but it doesn't seem like it in two, you got to go with the majority, right? There's one angle where it looks like his arm is extending and pushing him in the back. I think it's the one where it's just looking straight down. But then the other two replays, it looks like the contact happens. Taremi feels the contact because they bump and he's instantly going down. And the arm is just kind of it's not the arm, it's the contact. And then the arm is just kind of like a natural movement. It's not a shove, but there's one angle that looks like he kind of shoves him, but then it doesn't look like that in the other two. So, I mean, if anyone watched Arsenal Leicester this weekend, there's a very similar incident between Vardy and I forget who's playing center back for Arsenal.
Gabriel.
I think Gabriel. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't uncalled. I mean, I unfortunately I honestly on today I didn't even look at the outside the box perspective of it. I guess I'll have to go back and watch it if he's outside the box. Because if he's outside the box, yeah, I guess it doesn't even matter. Because even if you could review it, if he didn't put his flag up, but he's outside the box, it doesn't matter. So yeah, I guess I'll look back at that. But from what I saw, I don't think I should have been a PK, even if he didn't put his flag up.
Goes down so easily. He spends the whole game on the ground.
Yeah, agreed. Sam, anything to add on that? Do you agree?
I'm going to be a bit of a devil's advocate here, because as much as my bias wants to say, oh yeah, it's not. It's difficult, and I think Inacio is very lucky because as Chris said, there is always that one angle where it looks like he gives him a push, and we know refs in Portugal, they see one angle, they see it, they're like, okay, they're going to call it. But I think again, like I mentioned about Nuno Mendes, it's something that it's going to come with age. But I think it was really dangerous and stupid by Inacio because, like Andre said, Taremi always goes down. We've seen it at Maritimo, we saw it, and in his Porto career, the slightest touch, and it's that slightest touch the referees have to, if they go to VAR, there's contact, then they don't really have a choice. To be fair to Taremi, he's playing the game to the rules, really. If it works, then why wouldn't you do it? Is it a moral thing? And then sure, but if it gets his team points, I don't think anyone complains. But whether it's offside or not, I agree with Chris. It's really tight to call, but I think Porto definitely have a case.
Yo, it's outside the box. The contact is outside the box, even if it happens. None of this matters. None of this matters. And everyone go back and watch it. The first contact happens outside the box. We're good. We're in the clear. I don't even have to live with that on my conscience at all. Damn.
Then it's a free kick then.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they missed out on a free kick.
A free kick, potential red card.
Could have been a good chance. Yes, that's true. That's true. That could have changed the game. Right. If they called out a foul, it could have been a red card.
I was trying to see it on V Sports, but
he's last man. He's last man. There's it would have been a red if they called it foul, right? So yeah, I guess we can. Well, look, I don't think it would have changed the game plan much, right?
No, we would have thrown on net too, which might have been even better defensively.
We could just chalk it up to inexperience by Inacio, sorry, but like I said, it will come with time. Remember, he hasn't played that much in terms of overall game time. He's played, I think, the last 4 straight, but in terms of that, he's had sub appearances and some cup games. But it will come with time. But he was a lucky boy there.
Yeah, agreed. I agree. There definitely is contact. I think Taremi also is looking for the contact as well. But
100%.
I mean, so the thing is, I have to criticize the linesmen there. They were really quick to throw up their because this wasn't the only time where they threw up the offside flag.
This is
when it was like really close.
I'm gonna be referees devil's advocate for this because this also happens to me. Like, if someone plays the ball over the top to you and you're making a run and you kind of have to hesitate your run a little bit to wait for the ball, even if you're onside, it looks like you're offside. And this always infuriates me because in my league, right, the refs always call it. And I'm like, yo, like I'm running along the line and it's just he played a shitty fucking ball and I had to come back for it, So like if you have to wait for it or you try to, adjust back for it, it looks like you're offside. So honestly, that happened on that Taremi run. But it was closer than he thought it was because it was right on the line.
My only thing with that though, Chris, is you don't have VAR in your
I don't have VAR in my league. Yeah,
they do. So what are they throwing up the flag up way too early, way too quick? That's my only thing about that. The linesman in this game. And who knows? Maybe that has something to do with Antero. Maybe Taremi missing has something to do with Antero. I mean, he did try to get him to Sporting this summer. Who knows that?
Taremi is a sleeper cell. Sporting sleeper cell.
He has yet to score against Sporting in his professional career.
I think the Porto fans should look into that.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. That's really it from the game. I'm just gonna ask you guys man of the match before we move on to Modalidades. I'll go first, and I'm gonna honestly give it to Kouach. I know Pelinha did a great job in the midfield. Shout out to João Mario. I don't think we've mentioned João Mario enough yet. A lot of complaints about him this season, but I thought he had a decent game. He was one of the few that actually controlled the ball well, slowed up play, and tried to go for something. But I'm going to give it to Kouach. That cut against, or that tackle, whatever you want to call it, against, good job, Lauren. I almost forgot. Against Marega was huge. Quick question for you guys that I forgot to bring up from Lauren was how much of no fans in the stadium accounts for this, not only for this game but for this season. I really only want to hear your opinion on this because we've kind of went over this in the past.
I think the fans, it has something to do with it, with Sporting, due to what happened in the previous years. it's not easy to play when fans are booing and you're having a bad game. That was happening a lot in Alvalade, and I was a fan at the stadium watching one of those games when that happened. I think this is a breath of fresh air for this team and for the club as well, which is really important to take these games on a different level. They're playing with no fans, not a whole lot of pressure comes from the stands. No, you don't have to play games where people are whistling and booing and stuff like that. So, but at the same time, it's 11v11. You know what I mean? The team, it is what it is. We're doing good, and I think it has some to do with it. But I don't think it affects the team as much as we think it does, because they're professionals. It's what they do.
Exactly. And especially now more than ever, we probably would have won this game had our fans been cheering us on,
And honestly, think about if the Benfica fans were in the stadium right
now.
God.
They wouldn't have won today. It would have been a fucking inferno in there, and they would have been shitting on them so hard. All 16,000 that attended, or less. Think about it. Like, that's just what happens in Portugal. When you're dog shit and you're 20 points off, no one shows up.
Yeah, as we know.
As we know, you get like 4,000 for Taça da Liga games.
Exactly. But yeah, Andrea, who's your man of the match for this Porto game? It could be a Porto player as well. It doesn't have to be Sporting.
No, Corona had a tremendous game, but it's going to be a Sporting game definitely for me. And it's not one man of the match. I was going to go with João Palhinha, but the first half, João Palhinha had a couple of bad passes with João Mário as well. But I'm gonna say the back three, especially Coates. I mean, you can see that Ruben Amorim works on defending really well with this group of players. Like, even if Porro misses Pedro Porro on the right, if he misses a pass and loses the ball, you could see right away that Gonçalo Inácio is going to close the gap. On the other side, Nuno Mendes loses the ball. You can see right away Fedal making that run to cover that gap. I mean, it's amazing what Ruben Amorim is doing with his teams, especially when it comes to defending. I mean, that's where, in my opinion, that's where he's winning the games, most of the games. It's by defending well, everybody helping each other, especially the back three. They had an amazing game, in my opinion. Even Gonçalo Inácio, we can't forget. I think he's 20 years old. Not a lot of experience.
I'm glad you said that, Andre, because honestly, I was gonna say, like, he's the starter now. Like, Neto lost his spot. It's over. And that kind of happened. It kind of happened low key. It just kind of happened low key.
I think it happened at the Maritimo game with that tremendous game that he had with the one assist and everything. That Gonçalo Inácio got his spot in that game. Even though that I like Neto, but Inácio to me is the starter, and he's learning very well with Coates. You can see Coates is always talking to him. This is how you position yourself on the field. You can see them having conversations. And Gonçalo Inácio is a really nice surprise this year.
Agreed. And just quickly, as you mentioned, our defensive team, and Sam mentioned it a bit earlier, the way we play the high line this year has been like chef's kiss.
Even this game, just one more thing that I forgot to mention. This game, Porto was pressuring really high in the first half. They couldn't do that the whole game because it's impossible to the players are gonna get tired really quick. But Porto had the lesson studied, so they were doing high pressure all the time. Sporting had a hard time getting out in the first half, so Ruben Amorim had to adjust a couple of things at halftime. João Mário got more involved, didn't do a lot of bad passes. João Palhinha had a tremendous second half. I mean, I don't know what the hell. I mean, he has to go to the national team. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. He is a monster right now, and he played a tremendous game in second half. And Fernando Santos, you better open your eyes, please.
Agreed.
Well, I mean, we've got World Cup qualifiers at the end of March, so I mean, he better be in the squad. Jesus, like
at least.
I mean, even Hulk should be considered for the squad, I think.
I was actually looking at the Portugal team in the next few years. Portugal team is stacked, but if there's one position that we're lacking,
even who's the guy on Wolves? The forward on Wolves.
Pedro Neto.
He's borderline.
He's definitely getting called up.
Damn,
He's
there's a lot of
definitely
guys who I think should be. Yeah, they should roll the dice on. But
What were
sorry
you
to cut
saying?
you off, Andre.
Yeah.
It's okay.
About what position are we missing out on? I think center back. If that's what you're gonna say.
No. I'm saying the one of the positions that we can look forward to do some kind of refreshing is definitely center back and center mid. Center defensive mid.
Agreed.
William hasn't even really played as a full-time starter this season, right?
He's been injured a lot of the time.
He's been injured a lot. Danilo, the same thing. I see PSG fans bitching about Danilo, so I can't say I've watched him, but I just see their secondhand bitching. So I don't know how deserved it is. And honestly, Ruben Neves has not been a regular. I know he scored a banger this past weekend, but he has not been a regular for Wolves. And like those have been the midfielders. It's like of those four, objectively, João Palhinha has had the best season. So I guess we'll wait and see.
Easily.
I agree.
Yeah. And I mean, Tuchel leaving is big for Danilo, but they also used to play him at center back a lot. I think Poch is only starting to play him at center mid. Side note. But yeah, agreed. I couldn't agree more. Sam, you're man of the match. I don't think I've asked you.
I'm going to go a bit different. I'm going to say Adan. In terms of making saves, he didn't have a lot to do, but when he was called upon, he was great. His kicking is every time he gets the ball with his feet, I get a little bit nervous. But I when I was watching like Porto take free kicks and corners, he's always telling people where to go. He's always like commanding. He's sort of the captain that isn't the captain, if that makes sense. He doesn't need the armband to command everyone. And I think it frustrates me because I reckon this is what Viviano could have been like if he wasn't released or whatever happened to him. I know discredit to Renan because he had some great performances, won us trophies, but like I wonder if that could have been the same with Viviana. But I'm glad Adan's there. But he's been really underrated in terms of like being that leader and being that voice because he's made the few mistakes where we've conceded a few. You can credit up to either Adan, maybe making a bit of an error, but when he needs to be called upon, he is fantastic. So for me, I'm going to give it to Adan.
Good shout. I can't remember where I heard it, but somebody said how it might have been Amorim mentioned how when he played for big clubs like Real Madrid, and all he needs is that one stop. He doesn't need to be a keeper that saves the entire game, right? Like that one stop, and he's big and he's there, and that's super important for us. Christian, last but not least.
Yeah.
And quickly, what are your thoughts on Nuno Santos' recent form? We kind of talked about it, but I see Jesus Waxial with his second comment here, so let's give him some love.
Yeah. So my man of the match is either Adan or João Mario. Honestly, Adan's performance is like, yeah, he's been a keeper where it's been the saves when he's called upon. It's once a game, maybe twice a game at max. So. That's why I was unsold on him for like the first 12 weeks because it's like no one's even reached the goal. I haven't seen him do anything. Like I don't know. Like, but yeah, I think I've seen enough now where I'm sold. And honestly, like he could have been so fucking shitty. He's 33. He's been a straight backup for years and a couple years now. Played like 2 games for Atletico over the past 3 years. Like. He was a complete unknown, and it worked out, and I'm very happy. So yeah, him and João Mario only because we kind of give him shit over here a lot. So I thought that this is a good performance for him. So yeah, I thought he was he clearly his quality shown through pretty clearly. I thought his technical ability, and especially in the first half, like he was the only one like. In the final third, who was like able to complete a pass, which was, he did more than anyone else, which was complete a pass in the final third.
Yeah, I quickly on Nuno Santos. I think André mentioned earlier. He's more of a winger. And one of the things I like from Nuno Santos. Okay, maybe he didn't have the best game against Porto. You can say that about most of our attacking players. But at least he was present. Like he's always there. You can hate what he does, but you gotta admit Nuno Santos at least is always ever present on the ball. Whereas in many games, even the Porto game, like Pot kind of goes missing as he tries to drive in a bit into the
That's
center.
a good
sort of
point.
thing.
It's like I find myself getting pissed at him sometimes because it's like, oh, I feel like he's always the one fucking up. But it's like at the same time, he's always the one that's right putting himself in the position to even fuck up, right? Because he'll get down the wing 5 times, maybe he'll fuck it up 3, but the 2, one of them could be a goal, pretty easily. So
and the thing is, he lost his footing on that.
I feel the frustration with him.
Exactly.
Especially, I'm trying to think which game was it, like 2 games ago, where like I wanted to kill him, and then he scored in the first half. Like, I wanted to fucking like break my TV. He was pissing me off so much. So I feel the pain, but at the same time, going back to the original question about this, like Jovan, you can't start Jovan. He'll die if he plays 70 minutes. You can only play like 30-minute increments. So unfortunately, I don't want to start Jovan because I know he'll just immediately get hurt if he plays too long.
Nuno Santos has that fire in him as well, the aggression, you see it. Like, I know he's passed as a Benfica fan, whatever, but you see the passion. Like when he gets fouled, he gets up, he has that aggression, and I'd love to see that in football. Some people don't, but like when they get up and they get all aggressive, I think Porro has the same thing as well. They're like sort of the Porto effect, really, with Constant Sound, all of them. But it's not so great when it's Porto. But I think Nuno Santos is criticised a lot. I think he's some of the reason as well why Pot has got so many goals that he has. I think especially in the first half of the season, them two were just so in sync. I think it's dropped off a bit more. But I think we need to stick by him. Like Amorim's team selection has gotten us where we are now. So I don't think it's time to make a drastic change. And like Chris said, Giovanni is only like 20 minutes. If it's even like over 20, if it's like 21 minutes, then he's out for the season. So keep Nuno Santos in.
Yeah. And I mean, he only had that really bad thing where he like lost his footing on the edge of the box or something against Porto. That I can really remember that he did it like horrible. I just looked it up. He's our top assist maker with 6, or was it 4? Sorry, 4 assists. He's our second top goal scorer with 6 goals. He's running into a little patch of form, but I say stick with him as well. All right. Let's move on to our quick recap of Modalidad. Steph is in here, our Modalidad expert, but I'm going to pass it off to Christian. Of course, before we get into Modalidad's heartbreaking news this year or this week with the actual passing of handball goalkeeper of Porto Quintana. Last week, of course, we mentioned the heart attack he suffered in training. Devastating news that he actually lost his life through it. Christian, take it away, dude.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna go as in depth as Steph, and we were honestly just talking about before the pod, like before we came on, like who was gonna do the modalities. So honestly, I'm just gonna do them off the top of my head based on what I remember. The ladies football won 1-0, hard fought game, but got the 3 points. Anna Capetta nutmeg someone pretty bad, so there's a clip of that on Twitter if you want to see that. I know the basketball team won. And Benfica beat Porto. So we are in first, clear of Porto now. 1 game, possibly 2. This is just memory modalidades. Don't kill me, people here. So they're either 1 or 2 games up now on Porto. Hockey tied Porto 2-2. So I guess you could call it missed. I didn't see this game, but it seemed like we kind of missed a lot of chances, a lot of set pieces. It seemed like we were missing. So I guess the tie could be worse, but especially for chasing. But I guess it's better than the loss, right? Basketball, or I already said basketball. Futsal won 5-3, hard fought game. In the last match week, Benfica lost. So we went 1 game clear of them last week and then maintained that this week with a hard-fought 5-3. Handball in the European League won their first game earlier in the week and then lost their second game, I think. The first game was a forfeit. We got a forfeit from a postponed COVID game, and then we lost at home to Dinamo Bucharest. But we were already through because of the forfeit, so it didn't matter. We're going to go through to the next round in the equivalent of the Europa League in handball. 6 teams in the group, 4 go through. Kind of hard to not go through, I guess, but we're going through. And does anyone remember anything else?
No, it could have been worse. It could have been like the basketball team, bro.
Yeah, true. That
all we needed was 3 points and all
European
we got was 0.
performance. Yeah. European performance in basketball is erased from my memory. But I think that's our the memory modalidades recap of the week.
Sick. Let's finish this off. Friday, big game against Santa Clara at home at the Alvalade. I will be working Friday, so the lucky shirt will be on, guys. So dubs confirmed. Let me just already start by saying Sporting 2, Santa Clara 0. Andrea, what are your previews and prediction of this game?
I'm going to go with a 3-0. You want names?
I like it.
I can give you names too.
Names. I want names.
I think Pot's going to score 2 and João Palhinha is going to score 1.
Bimba. That's what I like to hear. Sam?
I think it's going to be a tough game. Santa Clara do have some really good players, and
they're coming off a good result, right?
3-0 against Paço Ferreira.
Yeah, that's a good result.
They've been in good form the whole season, really. I think they're a team that I reckon could cause us issues. But I'm going to go with the 2-0, and I'm going to go with a Jean Mario goal and Nuno Santos, just so we're all shut up a bit about him.
Let me quickly add. Yeah, Santa Clara 7th, 28 points. Moreirense could catch up because they do have a game in hand with 25 points. Their last game, like we mentioned, 3-0 against Paços. Before that, they lost away at Gil Vicente. They beat Paços in Açores 3-0. They lost to Braga in Açores 1-0, and before that, they went to Madeira Marítimo and won 2-1. But yeah, last but not least, Christian, what are your thoughts, dude?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. I think that these will come to play. I thought that like the last 2, I think this is the second year that Santa Clara or the third year that Santa Clara has been in the top flight.
I think third.
Yeah, I think it's the third. Yeah, so the past 2 times these have come to Alvalade, they've been all right. I think it'll be a hard fought 1-0 win. And I think our guy Thiago Tomas is gonna get the winner. I think he needs one, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie, especially if he's gonna be the starter leading the line for the next 3 games. He needs one. To be honest, he didn't if you look at his numbers are going to tell you he had a terrible game probably against Porto. But based on when we played them in the Taça Liga, he just got swallowed whole by Pep. He didn't exist. But I thought that he was just doing enough to get under their skin and was putting himself in some decent positions. So I honestly didn't have any problems with Thiago Tomas's performance. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna need him going forward, right? Because honestly, I was thinking at a certain point, Thiago Tomas has been running around just chasing them the whole time, right? Gets so tiring when you're just chasing the whole time. He's not lasting 90 minutes, and he didn't. Who's gonna come in? And your answer was Tabata came in and played center forward. So I'm honestly, I fuck with Tabata. I think he's a decent utility guy on the front line. And I think he has this certain swagger or energy about him where I just I don't know, I just rock with him and I trust him. I feel like he is. To be honest, he doesn't really seem like an Amorim guy. He seems like the guy who could be on the outs with Amorim because I don't know. I just feel like he's a marginal guy, but for some reason he has a place in this team, and I always like him when he comes on. I think he brings a certain energy. So. Will we get it about the start up tops? Shock start? I don't know. I basically I think Thiago Tomas needs a performance, or otherwise we'll get that against Guimarães.
I quickly on Thiago Tomas. I think it was Amorim that mentioned it. He even mentioned how his hold up play is improved immensely in the past 6 months or whatever. Before he would easily lose the ball, but now, and you even seen in the Porto game, he gets the ball back towards goal. He's still distributing it out well. He's had a few passes to Nuno Santos, etc. I think he's improving there. But yeah, that's podcast 101 in the books. Andre, thank you once again for joining us I think it's safe to say you definitely have, or Den of Lions definitely has more fans coming out of today. Hopefully, more success coming into your guys' future. You have more fans. We will definitely be rooting for you. And I believe Christian will have an update. Christian, I don't know if you want to add to that, like in the next coming months.
Yeah, no,
project in the works.
Yeah, no, I'll keep you guys updated on any developments, and I'll also keep you guys updated on how Andre's team performs. As they round out their spring season here. They're U18, right, Andre?
Yes, U18.
Yep, Den of Lions U18 Gunners. We will keep you updated on how their season goes, as well as any general news or developments around Den of Lions, Lardus de Lions as a social club, as a delegation in general. And if you're as a part of that community, you live in Newark, you live in Jersey, you go there, hit me up.
Facts.
Definitely. I appreciate you guys inviting me to come on the pod, and I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing because of the millions and millions and millions of people that don't speak Portuguese and follow Sporting. So you guys are doing a good thing. I hope you guys continue to do this for a long time, because it's good. It's good for everyone. And I just want to, to finish up. I just want to give my condolences to Quintana's family and Futebol Clube do Porto. It wasn't an easy situation. I know how I felt when, the fair incident happened as well, and it happened all over again, and it's not an easy thing. So my condolences to the Quintana family from us over here. And it was fun, man. It was fun chatting with you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, we're the ones that appreciate it, bro. You've been a great guest, and hopefully we'll have you on soon again. That's 101 in the books. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Juicebox Leal, YouTube watcher, Casa de Paiva, Lauren Jenks, of course, José Costa Jorge from Down Under, Fabio, Gianni, José Pimenta, Michael Fortuna, Johnny Siniero, New York's finest, Richard Neves, Brian Regu, Paul Costa, Jordan Benticor. Shout out to all you guys. Jeffrey Aguiar, João Serra. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I might be missing a few people. Tiago, of course, Tigas. Much love, Tigas. Francisco Matos, Marco Botello, Rui Leão, Ricardo Clement, Garrick Phillip, of course, and Steph, who was in the chat for a little bit. I'm sure he was on a solid 15-minute break. We appreciate everybody watching. Follow us on YouTube at Sporting160EN, on Twitter Sporting160_EN, Facebook Sporting160EN, Instagram Sporting160EN.
Andre, do you have anything to plug? Where can our followers find you and your team on social media?
Yeah, the Gunners have an Instagram. It's DOL Gunners 03, DOL Gunners 03. That's the Instagram profile name of the Den of Lions Gunners. And if you want to follow the Den of Lions soccer club, it's just put Den of Lions soccer, and then it will take you straight to the Den of Lions Instagram profile.
Are you on Twitter, Andre?
No, I'm not on
You gotta get on Twitter, man.
a lot of hate on Twitter for what.
Nah, you got.
So I stay away from that.
Yeah, just don't interact with those guys.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I have Instagram, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, that's it.
Cool, everybody go follow Den of Lions on Instagram again. Yes, thank you so much, Andre. That's 101 in the books. And Viva Sporting.
And a big shout out to Steph as well. He couldn't be here today.
That's right.